mile 8. So I don't know exactly where I am in this scene. My legs feel super heavy, like they've been filled with bags of sand, and I'm doing my best to keep breathing as I remember that I have not run a single mile since January. And yeah, okay, let me back up. Last year, I trained for and ran the Nike After Dark Tour in LA, which was a half marathon. And then the week after, I did a Juneteenth 10K in DC. And I was really proud of myself for both of those runs because I had a plan and I put in the work. Um, However, after I did the Juneteenth 10K, I kind of wavered in my training over the following months, and it eventually got to the point where I hit January and kind of stopped training. So when Credit Union Cherry Blossom 10 miler race day came around, I was working off of a foundation that was about a year old and genuinely untouched for 3 months. I want to be clear that I do not recommend doing a long distance race without training. Like, I will never do that again. I'm grateful that I crossed the finish line without getting hurt, but I do recognize that I had a foundation and I did do Pilates at least once a week between January to race day, and I think that helped. So race morning, cherry blossoms in Washington D.C. is truly beautiful. I mean, I can think of a few more ideal backdrops for racing and for suffering, but I was really excited about this one because I'd never done it before. I picked up my race bib 2 days before the run, and I made a last minute decision at bib pickup to buy a hydration vest. This was the best impulsive decision I've ever made. I loaded it up with Cliff Bars, some Honey Stinger Stroop waffles, and some energy syrups so that I'd have fuel on me the whole time I was running, and I wasn't just dependent on the aid stations that occurred every 2 miles. Now here's where things got a little chaotic. I had never used a hydration vest before, so the morning of the race, literally like an hour before starting time, I was filling my hydration vest up and noticed a leak. Eventually, I realized that leak was because the tube was not screwed all the way in at the bottom of the vest, and so I had to figure that out. Luckily, I did it very quickly, and I was also able to figure out how to get the water essentially through the tube. And then my dad took me to the starting line because well, not directly to the starting line, but close enough, because there were no Uber drivers coming to my house to pick me up or to take me to the train so that I could get to the race on time. So that was a bit chaotic, but I'm super grateful my dad is the MVP for getting me to the race on time. So yeah. I get to my corral. I was in the final group or the final wave to start running. And I went to open up my Nike Run Club app so that I could use their guided run feature and so that I could use their playlists, which I rely on for long efforts. The app just helps me. I really enjoy Coach Bennett's style of coaching during long runs. So I go to, get into my app and it's just not cooperating. The three dots, the constant loading. I was like, okay, here we are. So I'm waiting to move to the start line. The app is not working. So I had another playlist that I had saved, and it was Minnie Riperton's album, Come to My Garden, the Law of Attraction Frequencies, the Black is King album. And it was very meditative and very adagio. And I think that is the reason I finished. That music kept me regulated, kept me present, and kept me moving smart instead of moving in a panicked and in a manner that was too fast for me to maintain. Miles 1 through 3 were very difficult. I found myself super conscious of the fact that this was my first actual run in months, and I felt really good. Cherry blossom scenery was doing its thing. The crowd energy was really nice. People had signs saying, hey, you paid for this and you only got 10 miles to go. My body had already registered that I had 10 miles to go, but I was grateful for the reminder. This is actually kind of the danger zone, in my opinion, for an undertrained runner. I made the conscious choice to hold back, even when I felt like I could go faster. So by mile 4 through 6 is where I got a little bit more honest with what I was feeling.
Halfway point.
I knew I was putting forth an effort to go at a very slow pace, but I still slowed down intentionally. I took an untapped energy syrup at about mile 6, and to that point had just relied on the aid stations that were every 2 miles. And I kept my breathing steady. By this point, I was listening to the Law of Attraction frequencies that were playing, and it really helped me in my mental state just to think positively and to talk to myself positively as I was doing this really challenging thing for the first time in months.
You got this.
Only 3 left to go.
Ooh. Yeah, miles 7 and 8, it felt like it felt kind of like I was about to hit a wall. But for me at this point, it was like, okay, I know I have about an hour left to run. I know I'm racing against a clock, kind of, and this is where I really started to do that mental negotiating with myself as I was running. It's like, okay, just get to the tree pole. Okay, just get to that recycling bin. Okay, just get to that random line in the parking lot as you're running through to the next mile marker. Yeah, I'll run tonight. Whoa! And somewhere in the background, I hear Mufasa talking about balance. And it just reminded me that, hey, you've made it this far. You've been consistent with your run walk approach. Stay balanced, stay grounded, stay present. You can do this. Just take your time. And yeah, miles 9 and 10 at this point, it's pure survival. It's literally just slow running and also slow walking for me. But I will say that when the Black is King playlist was playing, I really enjoyed that music. I really enjoyed the production. The intention behind it was affirming. And, you know, hearing the lyrics to the song say, if you feel insignificant, you better think again, better wake up because you're part of something way bigger. It just felt like I was doing something that was bigger than me, and that I was part of something that was bigger than me, and that had nothing to do with my physical training, but everything to do with just my mentality.
Finished. Not even sure how long ago that was, but literally right as I crossed, my right calf did a little spasm, like literally as I was going over the finish line. So proud of myself for doing this. 2.5 hours of running, running my pace.
So what actually got me through were a few things. First, my pacing approach. I ran slower than I was really comfortable with for the entire run. I started off slow and just reminded myself throughout that this was the approach to not get injured. And it's very hard to run slow when you're surrounded by other runners because you want to keep pace, you want to keep up, you are inspired to go a little faster. But my approach was run 3 minutes, walk 1 minute, run 3 minutes, walk 1 minute. And that run 3 minutes portion was run 3 minutes slowly. I think that really helped. Second was fuel. Having the hydration vest on me, I was able to carry 1.5 liters, and it meant that I was never desperate. I was never feeling like I was dehydrated or like I was lacking. I had Cliff Bars, I had stroopwafels, and I had the, I guess I would call it an energy syrup. The only supplement that I took during the run was that energy syrup, and it was about the size of a liquid IV packet, but it tasted just like maple syrup, and it was a lot easier for me to digest as I was running. It gave me a nice boost of energy and was really helpful for, you know, letting me feel like I had fuel. Third was the mental segmenting. I only thought about the full 10 miles at the start when I saw that sign about having 10 miles to go. But once I got into the first mile, I was like, okay, 1 mile down, done 1 mile, now let's work on the next one. So just thinking about the next step versus thinking about all the steps that I had left was really a big deal for me. Lastly, the music. It's not the typical playlist that I would run with, I'll say that. Usually I do a more high energy musical flow, but I don't know, something about running with a meditation playlist really did something for me. I think that we underestimate how much our listening environment shapes our physical performance and how much it shapes our mentality, right? So the playlist that I ended up with was probably a better fit for me for this race than anything else, because if I would have started with the high energy playlist, I probably would have started off going too fast, might have hit a fatigue wall earlier than planned, and it just could have gone on downhill from there. There were a few other things. I ran with a knee brace to just give my knee a little extra support, and I also ran with compression socks to help with circulation. And I think that preparation in terms of what I wore was really helpful for me to mitigate the risk of injury, considering that I didn't train. So I crossed the finish line at 2 hours, 25 minutes, and 34 seconds. The official cutoff time for an official recorded time was 2 hours and 20 minutes. I missed it by 5 minutes and 34 seconds, which means that officially and according to the race tracking app, I don't have a final time, and there is no record of me finishing, except I have a screenshot that I was there, and also my legs know exactly what happened. My family was tracking me along the run, and so they know that I did it. And not having an official time, honestly, it kind of made me chuckle more than anything, because to me, finishing the race was never about the time. It was never about a leaderboard. It was about me proving that I could do it. And I did. Crossing the finish line, like I don't even have the right words for it, but it was really spectacular to see to see one of the race volunteers say, "You did it." And for me to just feel like, wow, I just did 10 miles. It didn't matter that I wasn't the fastest. I showed up, I moved forward, and I finished. And that means something. So, what this race has shown me is that movement doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. And the body is more capable than we give it credit for, but also, please train. I'm training for the next one for sure. So yeah, this is my 10 miler journal. I'll see you in the next one.